black, too strong.
Too black, too strong, Mega Blast, Asiatic Black. What's going on, family? You know I had to get it, man. Breaking news. Well, I'm going to just say it's a little news. It's a breaking news, but it's a little news. We got to keep our fingers crossed, man, for the best outcome of this particular situation. Talking about Harvey Weinstein, the disgraced Hollywood producer found guilty on 2 of the 5 charges that he was facing. Now, let me say first that I'm going to read you all a little bit of it, and I'm going to bring a video from ABC News. It says here, Harvey Weinstein, the disgraced former Hollywood producer, was found guilty of criminal sexual assault and of rape in the 3rd degree, not the 1st. The 3rd degree. As I read these, I want to put up some, as a matter of fact, I'm going to let y'all get the most of it out of the video. But the Harvey Weinstein case says the judge in this case remanded Weinstein, which is age 67, into custody without bail against his attorney's request. Attorney Donna Rotuno said in court Monday she was requesting house arrest, citing letters from his doctor that he was found not guilty of the most serious charges that he was charged with. Weinstein had been using a walker throughout the trial. Now, I did see that myself, and I'm just not buying that. I mean, I'm a passionate individual, but on the same note, man, they're not passionate towards us. And Bill Cosby was going blind at the time of his allegations and court appearances and all of that stuff. So they didn't take it easy on him. So I mean, who knows? Anyway, I wonder how Gayle King and Oprah is feeling about this particular situation, being that that's their boy. So I wonder how they feeling about this. As you can see here, you know that they was pretty close. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm wondering how they feel about the particular situation. Bill Cosby did, I think, had some words to say about it. I'll get to that a little bit later on, but I'm going to let y'all check out this video of the actual coverage from ABC News. And there's Gayle King there. Hey, it look like to me they've been friends for a mighty long time. Because Gayle was this was in her slimmer, younger days. So maybe they've been intertwining for a minute. Seems that they can't get out of that white world. Anyway, it says here are the counts. Counts number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Number 1 was predatory sexual assault. Number 2 was criminal sexual act in the 1st degree. 3 was predatory sexual assault. 4 was rape in the 1st degree. And 5 was rape in the 3rd degree. And as I said before, he got the lesser in numbers and the lesser of the charges, less seriousness of the charges. It says number 1, he was facing 10 to life. Number 2, 5 to 25 years. Number 3, 10 to life. Number 4, 5 to 25 years. And number 5, probation up to 4 years. So, I don't know. He'll probably end up doing about 5 years, whatever the case may be. Anyway, let's move on.
There has been a verdict in the Harvey Weinstein rape trial. He has been found guilty on 2 counts of criminal sexual act assault and guilty on rape in the 3rd degree. He's been found not guilty on 2 of the most serious charges, which predatory sexual assault, and not guilty on rape in the 1st degree. I want to go right to Ariel Reshef, who's been covering this case. She's outside the courthouse for us right now. And Ariel, where was this one for the prosecution?
Well, it's a mixed bag here, Paula. For the prosecution for Harvey Weinstein, the prosecution was hoping to really portray him as a predatory sex offender. And here he's actually been acquitted on two of the most serious charges, predatory sexual assault, the first count and the third count in this case. But he has been convicted on that second charge of of sexual act, which was predicated on the account of Miriam Halei, who testified that Weinstein assaulted her in her Manhattan hotel room, and now we are hearing that for the defense, this is quite a mixed bag as well, Paula.
Yeah, and we're still waiting to hear of Harvey Weinstein's reaction at the courthouse. Stand by, Ariel. I want to go right now to Julie Rendelman, a former prosecutor. And Julie, this no doubt is a huge victory for the prosecution. Harvey Weinstein could face up to 25 years in prison or more.
He could actually face more, and the reason is because the judge can actually take both of those cases, the rape in the third degree and the criminal sexual act in the first degree, and give him consecutive sentences if he chooses to. So I think it's an incredible victory for the prosecution.
But still, those two serious charges, the most serious charges, predatory sexual assault, he faced two of those not guilty. That is a victory in and of itself for his team in some senses.
It is, but you know, this was an incredibly difficult case from the start for any of these counts. And the fact that the jury was able to kind of get below kind of some of the areas that were confusing for them and find him guilty on both Mimi Halei and the other unidentified accuser is amazing. It's interesting that they did not find Annabelle Sciorra credible enough to find him guilty of the predatory acts. Because
many who heard her testimony said that she seemed incredibly credible and unimpeachable with her testimony. I want to bring in Dan Abrams, our legal analyst. Dan, first and foremost, I just want to get your reaction to the verdict.
I'm here. I'm in the office.
Dan, can you hear me? Paula Ferris here. I just want to get your reaction to the verdict. Okay, we're going to head back to Dan. A lot of moving parts here. Julie, what I want you to do is just kind of peel back the layers for us, because this was a very confusing case. There were 5 counts. One named accuser, another unnamed accuser, and then there were 4 women that were brought in the fold to give the testimony. But the most important thing to take from this is what?
So, you know, if we want to break it down, you know, the top counts were predatory sexual assault. We know that obviously there was Mimi Halei who had made an accusation regarding Harvey Weinstein. We know that there was an unnamed accuser also who also testified. Both of them continued to have a relationship with Harvey Weinstein afterwards. And so the prosecution felt, and we all felt, that it was going to be an incredible uphill battle in terms of trying to get a jury to understand that rape victims do not all come in the same shape and sizes. And this really is a testament to the Me Too movement, that we are viewing things very differently than we did before. And it'll be interesting how this impacts LA as well.
Yeah, this really started the Me Too movement. These accusations first started coming out against Harvey Weinstein in 2017. Let's go back to Ariel at the courthouse. And Ariel, what do you make of the jury, of course, threw this curveball to the judge on Friday, asking if they could basically be hung on 2 of the more serious charges, and they had a unanimous decision. What do you make about their decision today based on where they were Friday and how far they've come? We know they've deliberated for 5 days and listened to dozens and dozens of witnesses. So what do you make about the change that they had today?
Well, this was an 18-hour deliberation, Paula, and it threw everybody for into a tailspin on Friday when the jury came back with that ominous note saying that they may be deadlocked on the 2 most serious charges, and that has appeared to come to fruition. It was perhaps some kind of foreshadowing in that situation. And again, as I mentioned before, this is definitely a mixed bag for the defense. What we're finding out, you know, from inside the courtroom just after this was happening was that this is a somber environment, that both the defense and the prosecution kind of sat there silently as swarms of police came into the courtroom and surrounded the area. You can imagine with this high profile of a trial, this is something that's of high. Of course, everyone waiting to see himself will react to this, but initially swarmed by police inside of the courtroom, Paula.
All right, Ariel, thank you. And again, if you're just joining us, Harvey Weinstein has been found guilty on criminal sex act assault, rape in the third degree, but not guilty on two of the more serious charges, which were predatory sexual assault and then rape in the first degree. I want to bring back in Dan Abrams. Dan, just your reaction. This is, as Ariel just said, it's kind of a mixed bag, and we're hearing that the mood in the room is somber. There's neither a victor, neither side really got what they wanted. So what do you make of it?
Well, look, I think that this is a win for prosecutors. As Julie Rendelman was saying a moment ago, this was a difficult legal case. I think some of us who are watching this from the outside are looking at all the magazine covers where we see, dozens of women who are making these accusations and saying to yourself, how could it not be that Harvey Weinstein would be convicted? The problem is this was a case about two people, just two people with limited amounts of evidence that these jurors were going to hear, not about the dozens of women. And so these jurors had to focus on these two cases in particular, and both of them had issues. And so the fact that the prosecutors were able to get a conviction here, two convictions, I think has to be seen as a win for these prosecutors. No, they didn't get the most serious charge, which would have put him away for longer.
Right.
But yes, they got a conviction. And yes, he's also facing charges in Los Angeles now.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, look, I think that sort of changed the entire dynamic here, which is everything rested on this New York case before. Everything with regard to Harvey Weinstein seemed to be make or break as to what happens in this New York case. And then as this case was starting, Harvey Weinstein was indicted in Los Angeles. And so suddenly that means that if Harvey Weinstein does go to prison here, which I expect he will, he would then serve that time and then face a trial in Los Angeles. So this is not the end of it. And I think that when people are looking at the macro picture of this, the broader sort of what happens to Harvey Weinstein now, was there justice? The Los Angeles case becomes just another piece here, which says it's not all about how much time he gets or doesn't get in New York. It's not all about was he convicted of the most serious charge or some of the lesser charges. It means he's been convicted here and he's facing additional counts in Los Angeles.
So what's next for him? Will he be immediately taken into custody?
So, I don't have the answer. My guess is that he will. And I'm not always right. But most defendants, once they are convicted, especially of a violent crime such as this, where they're facing a maximum of 25 years, which is in this case, will be put in on remand because now he has the biggest motive to not come back. He's been convicted by a jury of his peers. Once that happens, there's going to be victims that are going to want to speak. They're going to give a notice that is going to allow them to speak at the sentencing. And at that sentencing, the judge is going to hear from them. He's going to hear from the defense. He may hear from the defendant. I don't think so. And he will make a decision as to what the appropriate sentence is for Harvey Weinstein in this New York case.
But he's looking at life in prison.
He is not. He is looking at 25 years on the Criminal Sexual Abuse Act, and he's looking at up to 4 years on the rape in the third degree. He can get consecutive, which means he could get 29 years. But he could go lower. I think the judge is going to have a lot of decisions to make in terms of weighing all the witnesses that testified and balancing the fact that Harvey Weinstein had never been arrested before, but these accusations go back a long way.
And Harvey Weinstein is 67 years old, but looking like he may not get out until he's in his 90s. Julie, thank you so much for your analysis. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to Ariel Reshef, who's outside the courthouse for
Too black, too strong, too strong.